live talking about childhood experiences because neurodivergent childhood experiences. I'm sorry, I have allergies. Because of something I saw online recently reminded me of a situation where a parent was very, very dismissive of their neurodivergent child, and uh, even sometimes some of the things they do I would consider borderline abusive. Um, and I wanted to talk about what it's like to be experiencing childhood, because I'm autistic and I have ADHD, and I have a lot of experience on the subject. So, hold on, excuse me, just give me a moment. I'm still here. We're gonna try to get rid of the allergies. Not allergies, but nose things before. Hold on, I gotta wipe it again. You know that feeling when you feel you're about to sneeze? It's almost constant for me. So, okay. Oh boy. Anyway, I wanted to make this video and talk about what it's like, because a lot of people don't really understand why we're like this, but I'm sorry. As a neurodivergent child, you get dismissed a lot, you get talked over a lot, you get turned away a lot, when you act or react a certain way that is not conform to what society expects of you, and at some point it creates that kind of feeling where you're not capable of exploring anymore and creating. Like, mentally you stop yourself, you develop this this mental block that makes it really difficult to think and to make things. You stop yourself because it's like, well, what good is it gonna do if people just turn me away every time I have an idea anyway? You know, some neurodivergent children will show very big initiative and be very creative and want to do things that are super sweet for others. Hey, Ian! Hi, thank you, I guess. My nose is weird, but okay. But yeah, I wanted to talk about this we're gonna remove this person. Yeah, we're gonna remove this person. I don't want weirdos on my live. Anyway, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm gonna try to get back where I was going with this. But yeah, I wanted to talk about the childhood experiences of a neurodivergent child who gets constantly dismissed, and at some point it creates this kind of mindset where you stop yourself from creating and thinking because you're taught over and over again that what you create or what you think, what you do is not good and is not suitable for society. And I'm like this. I feel a lot of that. I stop myself a lot. Um, and it's put me in this kind of state where I'm halfway creating things. Yeah, you get what I mean. Ian gets what I mean. But I'm in this constant state of almost creating, but not being able to go through with my ideas, because because of this mental block, and it is, um, you are weird. We're gonna, put more people in timeout and, block more people, apparently. We're getting a lot of trolls. What, because I'm talking about neurodivergent people? This is amusing. Don't let them know that I'm trans. It's gonna be a catastrophe. Okay. We're gonna get back on track. This mental blockage kind of thing. This mental block. I'm stealing your trolls. Yes, I am. If I have an idea for something, I'm almost always in this half state of thinking about it, but it's really blurred in my mind, it's very it's faint. It's it feels like the big lines of an idea, but that never gets concrete. It never realizes itself. It never gets clearer in my mind, and that makes it really hard for me to make anything and make anything good. With crochet, it's easy because you can just follow someone else's pattern, and I do write my own patterns. But yeah, I find that hard as well when I write my patterns, even if I draw inspiration from something I see in life or anything, or there's a certain vibe I want or that I like and that I try to recreate. um it's just still really hard, um and a lot of this is also from neurodivergent problems that I have, sensory processing and other things of the sort. um Hold on, I gotta blow my nose again. I have a lot of allergies. It's kind of funny that nose guy had his throwaway account ready just to troll me again and call me weird. Because I called him weird. I don't even know if it was a guy, I'm assuming. But yes. I've been trying to fight this mood of struggling with creation, essentially. And it's not really easy to do that, because like I was saying, you're taught from a very early age that anything you say or do is not worthy. You're never encouraged to pursue it because people see it and like, hey, that is really weird. That's not something I would think about. This is neurodivergent. This is not interesting to me. This is not this and this or that. And instead of encouraging the child, you restrict their liberty to create. And Ian, you might know who I'm talking about when I'll say this, but what prompted this is a rather well-known YouTuber from the crochet community. I'll tell you in private if you want to know who I'm talking about. But yeah, it was just the way this person was treating their child over and over again, perpetually on camera, and I'm just thinking to myself, that poor little child, every time they try to do something, the parents like, you're annoying, get out of my way, you're disrupting the video, you're disrupting the live, you're... Yeah, I'll tell you in private if you want to know, but yeah, it's very ew. It's not good. But, and I just started noticing it again and again. And it's this phenomenon where content creators with children, sometimes they center themselves in this narrative of, oh, I'm such a good parent to this poor little neurodivergent kid who is so disruptive to my family. I'm the hero because I take care of this very difficult child. It is so hard for me because I struggle and I suffer. You know, that kind of vibe. That's the kind of vibe this person has, to be honest. And it makes me sad. It made me sad every time I was watching that. And I finally unsubscribed a long time ago because of this. But I just saw something resurface about this. And I was like, yeah, I'm not comfortable with this person. But I wanted to take the opportunity to talk about a little bit more about the neurodivergent childhood experience because of this. Sorry. Allergies again. Your old roommate had a kid. She was constantly treating him like a burden. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I got a lot of that when I was a child too. It was always like, get out of my way, I'm doing something. Or watching TV, can't you be by yourself? Or, oh, nice, you wrote a song, great. That drawing is weird. You know, that kind of stuff. I didn't really get that from my mom. My mom was supportive of my creativity. But yeah, I got shut down a lot from my surroundings as a kid, especially from teachers. But yeah, when it happens over and over again, at some point you just shut down yourself, you know. And it's really difficult to unlearn. It's really difficult to trust yourself again when you keep learning how inadequate you are and things like that. But yeah, I was mentioning this phenomenon of goodness, sorry, my septum piercing is moving because I'm wiping my nose. I know that I'm not supposed to touch it, but it's either that or I have a meltdown. So, you raised yourself and your sister, basically. Your parent wanted praise when... oh my goodness. Yeah, my dad's like that too. You know, I came home from school around 4, maybe 4:30 p.m. and my job was to take care of my brother until my stepmom came home from work, because my dad was just like, hey, I just worked all day, I don't want to deal with this, bye-bye. Change diapers and feed him, kind of thing. Entertain him until his mom comes home at 6. Yeah. But yeah, it's this phenomenon of online creators trying to attract sympathy from people and being like, oh, I'm this hero, I'm so... trying to get praise and trying to get, you know, and portraying their child as such a bother and things like that. And I worry a lot for this kid, because it's the way their online parent is treating them is very... it's gonna be very damaging to to their self-esteem at some point, if it's not already, you know, because this has gone on for a long time. And I just worry, yeah, because I know how it feels. My parents weren't on YouTube. It wasn't really a thing, but I know what it feels like to have the perception others have of you be skewed by a parent who's constantly portraying you as this burden. And it affects the child's self-esteem. I'm sorry, my speech is a little weird right now. And part of this is because my nose is so filled. I'm talking weird a little bit, and also my other speech issues. Hopefully you can still understand what I'm saying, right? Um, but I keep being reminded every time I see things like that person's videos about their kid and the way they talk about their daily life and their kids' meds and kid needs and everything and potential diagnosis and potential this and that problems all the time. Um, just imagine that this kid is having the the whole um, viewership of this person have this very, very specific perception of them, and they're stuck with that for life. They're gonna have to deal with that for life. Because even if it's not like a famously known person with millions of subscribers, you still have a lot of internet people who have this idea of you now because your parent keeps presenting you as this completely crazy child who does all this crazy insane stuff. Well, not crazy as in, but like erratic, maybe hyper and things like that. Like things like the kid comes in the room and the parents like, I don't want to see you, I'm busy. And that's one thing, like at some point you gotta have a moment to yourself and you have things to do, and that part is understandable. It's just a constant getting shut down and getting, yeah, it's a lot for a child to be perceived, especially for neurodivergent children and for neurodivergent folks. Being perceived takes so much of your energy, because at some point you learn that people are always criticizing and always dismissing and pushing you away because you're different than them. You see things differently, you communicate differently. And it is so energy consuming to be perceived. Just to be seen and perceived and thought about, known about in one way or another. So I can't even imagine what it's like for content creators' kids, influencer kids, any known person's kids. Like, I think of that famous rich guy who's a very bad man and very transphobic, constantly bitching about his trans daughter, buying an entire website to make fun of his daughter for being trans. You know who I'm talking about, right? Not gonna name names, I don't want to. Anyway. But you know that the discourse around this already, I don't need to tell you. And their kid, I believe their kid was also neurodivergent, but that guy is autistic, so it would make sense because autism is hereditary. Where did I just put? Yes. I don't know. I can't help you because I forgot. Yeah. You know that guy who bought an entire social media. He did that to make fun of his trans daughter. But that guy has like 12 children already, so I don't think he even cares of having an estranged daughter. But because the way he talks about it is so hateful. It's crazy hateful. Just imagine everyone seeing this poor kid and being like, having their opinion on that kid's life and on their dad and on their relationship and on the hate. People siding either way. People projecting. It's a lot, and I wouldn't want to be a child of a famous person. I wouldn't like that very much. And yeah, it's all things that make me really concerned. It raises concern. It makes me sad as a person, and especially as a neurodivergent person and as a queer person as well, because I'm queer as heck. I'm just gonna say that. Many ways too. And that person asked what I'm wearing earlier. I'll show you the nice people. I'm wearing a skinny puppy shirt because that's what I'm always wearing. And this one's comfortable because it's really big. So. Yeah. And I guess another thing about being a neurodivergent kid and having your experiences constantly dismissed is if you tell your parent you're not cold, they don't believe you because they're like, yeah, children don't know. Children don't know that you have to wear a coat when it's chilly outside. But a lot of autistic people are very weather sensitive. You're either overly warm or overly cold. Like you either overheat all the time or you're constantly freezing. And I was always the kind of person to overheat. And as a child, my dad would yell at me and put back the covers on me until I stopped removing them. And I would, hi Lydia, welcome in. And I would still take them off because I was having heat strokes. Like, it was intense. Like, I was so hot under the stupid covers. I didn't need, like, 20 blankets. But my dad would always put them back. Because he was like, nah, you're gonna be cold. I'm cold. You're cold, too. And I was like, Dad, no. It's hot in this room right now. And it's the same thing about loud noises. People keep telling me this funny thing, right? Oh, it's not that loud. Oh, the lights aren't that bright. Oh, it's not that intense. It's not that worrying. Oh, it's not that bad. I get that told all the time. You barely noticed the weather until you started dating Mel. Interesting. Yeah, I've always noticed the weather just because I'm always overheating. So I check the weather just to see if it'll be too hot for me to wear a jacket. But now I have a lot of circulation issues and hereditary issues that make me sensitive to cold. So I'm like in the bad spot where I'm always overheating, but my extremities are freezing. It's not fun. But yeah, you keep constantly being told, no, it's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's not too spicy, it's not that bad. You're exaggerating, you're just being fussy. And at some point, you start dismissing yourself because nobody's advocating for your comfort. And so you stop advocating yourself. Yeah, exactly. Already overstimulated and you want to rage quit. Yeah. I've tried to do that a couple times. Yeah. It's a bit insane to expect every child to be exactly the same and to need the exact same amount of clothing on them. Because sensory profiles are very different for everyone. I'm sorry, I gotta blow my nose again. Oh, sorry. There you go. But I have friends who will need a jacket on a day like today and it's like 31 degrees. But I have friends, and including myself, who would go out in a bikini at 5 degrees weather and be fine. Oh yeah, by the way, I think Ian, you might have seen this, but I felt extra spicy last night. I don't know what's gotten into me. I don't know what the heck is the deal with my brain right now. Yeah, 28 degrees. Yeah, it's really hot today. But yeah, I was feeling extra spicy for some reason last night. I felt a little bit ridiculous posting those photos too. But I was like, I just felt the urge to look nice. I don't know. I still feel weird about it. Oh, thank you, I appreciate that. But I felt a little bit ridiculous. It's the kind of thing is people don't really perceive me as appealing in this way anymore since since I came out essentially and started presenting less femme. People don't see me as appealing in that way. And so I felt completely ridiculous posting that. I'm trying to get back into that kind of stuff and just feeling nice about my body and myself. Well, it's not that I don't like my body, but I feel ridiculous being attractive and appealing. Like, I don't feel like I have that in me anymore. I kind of lost it a little bit. And the big part of it is from, well, I'm ace essentially. I'm on the ace spectrum. But also, when you have gender dysphoria, sometimes it can kind of mess with your perception of yourself in certain situations, if you know what I mean. I'm trying not to be 18 plus right now. Yeah, it's not confidence. I have confidence in myself. I just don't feel sexy. That's the thing. I just don't have the inner feeling of being appealing. Like, I just don't have that feeling, that kind of sexiness that I had before. It's just different because I don't know how to be appealing and in a gender neutral way, because I've only ever been taught to be that in an AFAB way. I've always been taught to be a woman ever since I was a little child. That was my experience. I mean, trans people probably understand what I mean by this, of course. But yeah, I just don't relate to that part of me anymore, because femininity is not something I have in me at all. But I always forced on myself because I thought that's what was needed to be accepted. But now I'm trying to be sexy in a way that is not femme, and I'm totally lost. I don't know how to do it. It's just really difficult. Yeah, and I was writing silly messages to cover some parts of my body as well. And that's just because I didn't want to break community guidelines and have my pics filtered out and be reported and everything. So I was writing silly messages and putting them over cleavage and things like that. And I don't feel ugly by any means. I don't feel bad about my body. It's really just I don't have the sense of that part of me anymore. I'm a little bit lost about how to go about it, and I've not been intimate in any way ever since I came out as agender, and even as queer, even as gay as heck, even as bisexual or whatever. I've not known that since then. So yeah, I guess I just disconnected from that part. And I don't know why I'm talking about this. I'm very sorry if the people might be uncomfortable hearing about this, but yeah, my channel talks about a lot of very different things that human beings experience, especially neurodivergent folks and queer folks, disabled folks. I'm sorry. Um, but yeah, to me it's just like weird right now, you know. And also I look kind of sick because of all the allergies. My face is all red. My nose especially. Ouch. So when I was talking about the whole childhood experience of being a neurodivergent child, there is also this whole component of gender, because it is very frequent for neurodivergent folks to be queer. There is a very big queer presence in the community. There is a lot of intersectionality between being neurodivergent and queer. And as a child, of course, the heteronormativity is pushed on you a lot, because that's the default in a lot of people's minds. And you know, I always felt that something didn't match up quite right, but that kept being dismissed as well. And it's not bad to just not assume your child is trans is not a bad thing, but also dismissing that they are is a very bad thing. I'm a big believer in you let your child tell you who they are, not the opposite, not the other way around. And this is because I have lived the other way around. I've been told what I am, what I should be, and it was a complete disaster, and it was wrong. Like, I could have figured that out myself if I had a little support. But I did not. And I thought I had to be a woman. And I was hypersexualized for a very, very long time because of that. And it just, at some point, it just turned me off of the whole thing. Because I'm like, I don't really like doing this. I don't really like looking like this. I don't really like being this. I don't think this is for me at all. Because that's the only way I was taught to be and to like to everything. And even just how you present on a daily basis. Yeah, a lot of it is tied to your childhood. Family members would buy me Barbies and giant dollhouse. I remember this. My godmother, for Christmas, I believe it was for Christmas, she got me a huge Barbie mansion, all pink. And it was great because I could store all my toys in it. I would put it against my bed and just stuffed all my toys in it. That's what I would do. I wouldn't really play with it so much, to be honest. But, like, people were like, oh, you like Barbies, right? You're a girl, you like Barbies, you like dolls, you like playing with your cooking set, your little play kitchen, your little things like that. And yeah, to be honest, I liked the sensory play of food and things like that, even if it was plastic food. But if I told you what I made my Barbies do as a kid, you will understand that I'm queer now. I was not playing with them as intended. Let's just say it like that. And Ken was often put away in a corner, like, in timeout. I put Ken in timeout all the time. And, you know, that was that. poor guy. And then my mom would buy me little cars and little things like that. And I was a big Lego kid. I was into Lego a lot. She bought me a lot of Lego. And that was cool because those were toys I actually played with way more than Barbies. But I've never been one way or another. I was never all pink or nothing, and I was never all cars or nothing. Like, little figurines and everything. I played with figurines, but I didn't make them fight. Just so you know. Well, I'm autistic, okay, so I would just line them up. And sort them, organize them by size, sort them in different plastic bins, depending on what category of toys they were. My teeth are weird right now. I need to brush them. And do that after I'm live. No, you've not seen it. I told you, but you've not seen it. I don't have dolls anymore, so I couldn't show you even if I wanted to. But yes, let's just say that. Oh yes, I did show you. That's right. Oh, I remember now. But that was not my doing. That was a pure accident. Okay, just for context, people. Just for context, I made 2 Disney dolls in crochet. And just as a disclaimer, I am not promoting, selling, or distributing things that are copyrighted. But yeah, I made 2 dolls, and I took a picture of it. I took a picture of them, and after that I just put them back in a bag, but it was a transparent bag. I just put them back, just like that, threw them in there, went to bed, woke up in the morning to find them in a very saucy position. A very numbered position, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So my dolls were having fun. They were having a little party of their own. It wasn't even on purpose. But the things I would make my dolls do as a child were even worse than that, Ian. Even worse. Oh, and I had the Barbie with the horse, you know, and she always went horseback riding, and it was really cool because that horse had sound effects, and yeah, so I had that. But I don't know, I was a weird kid. I'm autistic, and I was an autistic child. And I took my Lego, and I would throw all the bricks on the floor, and then take all the 2x4 bricks, and I would line them up. Line up all the blue ones, line up all the red ones, line up all the yellow ones. And then I would construct structures with weird shapes. And the deal was the colors had to not touch the same. Like, no 2 bricks of the same color could touch. And it would just have to be, I would put 1 brick there and 1 brick there, and then join them with another one on top, and then I would change direction, and then I would randomly change direction to make the weirdest shape possible. After that, I would just completely destroy it, leave them on the floor, and go to bed, and that's what I would do. That's how I played as a child. That, or I would read all day. I would take my little encyclopedia and I would read all day on every subject I could. And mind you, this was a beginner's encyclopedia. It was not very big. It was just kind of a general encyclopedia and kind of geared for not really just for children, but it was very basic. It was not extensive or on anything. But I loved that. Or I would read the dictionary as a child. I never really like read from A to Z or anything like that, but sometimes I would just read words and definition for fun. Yeah. But I've always been an avid reader. If you're wondering why that light bulb is black, it's because it's a black light. That was probably clear, but just thought I'd say. But yeah, as a kid, I was always weird. But I don't want to say weird because I don't think it's weird. Oh yeah, I used to love the encyclopedia too. I'm glad. But I just liked it because all the images were really, really bright and all the descriptions were useful too. Like, I learned the difference between 10 types of socks. I forgot all of that, unfortunately, but as a kid, I knew the difference between a socket and a sock, and a knee-high sock, and all the different kind of clothing. I knew the names of 10 different jackets because it was in the encyclopedia. Yeah. I'm sorry. There was a biology section and it had two grown adults, one male, one female, with all the parts and everything. And I'm not even lying, okay? I apologize for what I'm about to say if it gives some people weird mental images, but that guy's parts were awfully flat and triangle shaped. And I thought that all males had triangle sacks. For the longest time, I thought that's what testicles looked like. Because in my encyclopedia, the drawing was like this. It was very, very triangular. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm saying this. But it kind of scarred me a little bit. I know now that it's not the case. But it's funny. Yeah, their anatomy was not really the most accurate, but I mean, it was just basic illustrations, so. They were realistic too, but not in a hyper-realistic photo-like way. It was definitely a digital drawing, but I'm sorry for the details. This really, really scarred me. And so, yeah, as a kid, I would read an encyclopedia, dictionary, things about animals. That I would do a lot of. Would just learn about one specific animal and read the whole book, and then do the same with another one and another one. I had a lot of reading materials. It was one of my big things. I was always an avid reader until my trauma caught up with me, and now it's really difficult for me to read anymore, which is unfortunate. I'm reading The Lord of the Rings right now, but I put it down now. I can't pick it up again. I want to finish it. I'm in the first book right now. Yeah. I Directly at the beginning of the Council of Elrond. That's where I got. But yeah, now I have a lot of. I don't have encyclopedias anymore, but I have a lot of art history books. Yeah. Yeah, but all of this has kind of shaped who I am today. But in many, many, many ways, just being a neurodivergent children is really difficult. Yeah. Oh, such is life. Oh, that's okay. I was kind of half kidding about that image. It was not scarring in a traumatizing way. It was more of a mental image that stuck with me for a very long time. And I just assumed they all looked like that. And I was very confused to find out that most of them are round. But I think it's just that the person who drew the image doesn't really understand gravity and just made it all very flat. Unless you were talking about another thing I said. But yeah, all of this shaped a lot of who I am today. As a kid, I would sit on the armchair. What's the name of that? Rocking chair. This was a rocking chair that wouldn't go like this. It wouldn't go around like this. It would go forward and backward. And I would stim like this. I would rock back and forth for hours at a time. I don't know how my parents didn't know I was autistic. Because I would do this hours at a time. I would just sit in that chair and rock and rock and rock, like really, really hard too. I was really like this. Like I was going so hard that my mom had to pull the chair forward so it wouldn't damage the wall. And it was in the corner of the room too. And we knew exactly where the chair went because it made indentation in the carpet. Yeah. Nightbot is doing links. Thank you, Nightbot. And so I think you told me about that. I do sometimes flap hands. It's not my biggest stim. I think my biggest one is rocking right now. Or tapping myself. I do a lot of echolalia and palolalia. Those are vocal stems. Look at that yarn ball. It's huge. This is a ball of scraps. I'm so tired. I want to go to bed. Nope. Oh, this is soft. I have a bunch of granny squares here. And I just want to pat them right now as a stim. I have weird ones. I open and close drawers This is a stim I do quite frequently, and often with my toes. Mind you, I don't know why, but I will just open it and close drawers with my toes. Or cabinet doors. That one too. That one is especially annoying to the people around. As if it's super disruptive. But I'm glad that in school we didn't have the lift covered desks anymore, because that would have been hard for me to resist. Even just having desks with an a space under it for your things was really difficult, because I always wanted to reach out and play with the things in there. And the teacher would tell you, get your book, get your binder, get this, that. But I always just constantly wanted to play with the things. And then you go to high school and they remove that. You don't have your... I don't know how it is in other countries, but in Quebec at least, in the school I did attend, all the desks had a space underneath it in elementary school, essentially primary school in Quebec. But in secondary school, which is basically high school, there's not that anymore, and it completely... No, I don't have a tutorial. The pattern is linked under some of my videos. I do have it on Instagram. I'm sorry, I can't share it right now because you can't access the chat on mobile when you're streaming. But it is by Tanya Corbeil. If you want to look for it, it's on Etsy as Zombie Cat Pattern, and there are 3 different sizes. I'm sorry, I can't type it out right now. I literally don't have access to the chat. But yeah, I was talking about how that very minor desk change affected my whole organizational skills, organizational skills as a kid. And that's one thing, like very small details like this, where I don't know where to put my notebooks anymore, and my pencil case and my things, because I used to always have a dedicated space for it. And I don't have that anymore. It has to stay in my bag, and it's behind me, and it's a lot for me to think of reaching out and getting things out, and sometimes I forget them in my locker and things like that. I would always forget something in my locker at the end of the day. I don't know. It was just really hard because you're not surrounded or helped. You're not really supported in that change. And for most kids it would just be, well, okay, I don't have a space under my desk anymore, so what? But for a neurodivergent child who's only known things that way, it's a huge change, because your things don't have a space anymore. You have to manage your things. You don't just put them there and get them when you need. You have to think of carrying them. You have to think of taking everything you need with you. You have to plan what you'll need for the lesson. And it was a lot. I would just always forget things. And even when I was in CJEP, even in university, I would forget things home all the time. And I didn't rent a locker when I was in college or university either, because it was expensive. I believe I got a locker one time. I ended up never using that. I used it a little bit sometimes, but I always forgot things in there. So yeah, that was just kind of a weird experience. And now I think I'm gonna have to go very soon. 'Cause my battery is going down. And Ian is texting me, so I will have a look at this. You would constantly have arms full of stuff. Yeah, exactly the same. Would carry all everything. That's the reason I carry a purse, cuz I'm always like, "Hey, what if I don't have this thing that I need?" Because I've been stuck without something I need uh so many times in my life. Now I just carry everything in a super big purse. Thank you, I appreciate that. But yeah, I'm gonna go now. I've been streaming for almost an hour. I want to thank everyone for coming. Thank you for commenting. Um, well, thank you, everyone. Especially the trolls that we got earlier in the video at the beginning of the stream. That's what happens when you go live public. Um, but all the mobile streams are public, so it's a little bit you have to deal with trolls sometimes, and we got 3 different ones. But thank you everyone for coming. I will most definitely talk about this subject again in the future. I'll talk to you everyone. I'll talk to you all soon. Bye bye. Yeah, of course.